Hello, I'm Kimberly Parnell, and you are listening to Engaging Texas Families, a podcast from the Parent and Family Engagement Statewide Initiative of Texas. Let's jump into today's episode. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Engaging Texas Families, a podcast of the Parent and Family Engagement Statewide Initiative. This is a special recording at the 2025 PFE Statewide Conference in Waco, Texas. And today we're joined by Jaime Huerta from the Texas Education Agency. Jaime, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So we have carved out some time during the conference just to have just quick conversations about parent and family engagement across the state. So why don't you start out today and tell us just a little bit about yourself and your journey through through education?
Growing up, I did start my education career and as a student, going to my local Head Start, and then I attended Title I schools actually throughout my school experience. After that, at the age of 19, I decided that I wanted to run to be a school board member in my community. And I ran for office and I got elected and got to serve for 4 years on my local school board. And that was my first dibs into education. Originally, I was in college and also on the school board at the same time. And my major was in political science with a minor in Spanish, with the aspirations and dreams of being an attorney. And however, being on the school board really changed my perspective on what I wanted to do and be when I grow up, which I'm still trying to decide what to do.
I think we all are.
But at that point, I decided that I didn't want to be an attorney and instead wanted to focus on education. So I completed my degree, and as soon as I graduated, I enrolled in a master's in certification program to become a teacher. And started my career as a high school Spanish teacher, teaching and learning about teaching in the same year. My first year as a high school teacher was challenging, but rewarding at the same time. I didn't have my own classroom, so I literally had to walk in between passing periods in a high school with 1,400 students with my little cart and my books from classroom to classroom.
Portable teacher.
A portable teacher. But I survived that experience, and since then went through multiple levels of campus administration, district level administration, have experience in the traditional public school system as well as charter school system, and now have the privilege and honor of working at the Texas Education Agency, overseeing multiple federal programs in the areas of compliance and monitoring. So
perfect. So how interesting. What did you see as the biggest eye-opening experience when you got on the school board? Did you say you were 19?
I was. I decided that when I ran for the school board, I felt that there needed to be student representation and there needed to be a student voice on the board. And so that's what my platform was a student voice for the students. I'm not going to say it was easy. It was rough. In my 4 years there, I believe we went through 3 superintendents. Wow. So I got to experience, all kinds of change and politics at its finest. Mm-hmm. But it was an awesome on-the-job type of experience with college courses in political science as well as living political science. Mm-hmm. But the most eye-opening thing and what really changed my thoughts about getting into education was the moment that did it was the first graduation that I got to hand out or shake hands and hand out diplomas at a high school graduation. And I was like, yeah, this is I'm working on shaping education in the policy area as a school board member, but I feel like I could be a bigger help by actually being in a school and being in a classroom and using that experience to better education and better society. So that's kind of...
it's so interesting when you sit in any kind of graduation, it doesn't matter if you have somebody attached to it or not. If that doesn't, I always think to myself, if this doesn't well up some kind of something in you, maybe you should check yourself, because it doesn't, even if it's your own kid or you're just there because you're a school board member or you're a community member, like there is some moment of, ooh, this is our future and we should be so proud of that. So thanks for sharing that. So you work at the Texas Education Agency right now, and I think there's been a little bit of a shift over the last few years between the words parent involvement and parent engagement. So tell us what you think the difference is between those two things.
Yeah, so I think the road to engagement starts with involvement. You have to, involvement is an important piece of parent engagement or parents being involved in their children's education. But I think it has to reap the rewards that we've seen in research of parent engagement and its impact on student academic achievement. You have to build those relationships that will ultimately engage. And I see involvement as like showing up to single events, being involved in going to, your child's events, math night, those kinds of things. But I think engagement goes one step further, and it's really building that relationship for increasing the capacity or building the capacity of parents to be able to support their child's education at home, and also support the work that the school's doing to further their child's education. So again, involvement, I see it as, like I said, going to events, being, invited to the school, but engagement is that extra step of, okay, if a parent didn't come to an event, let's reach out and see what's going on, how we can help, and how we can get them here to the next event. So it's those extra additional little touches that make parents feel welcome. And of course, also, you have to make sure not to impose on parents as well and be overly communicative with them, because then that might turn parents off as well. So you have to learn your parents, just like in a classroom, you have to learn your students. Everybody learns it with different modalities. Parents parent in different modalities. And Absolutely. So you kind of have to meet them where they're at, and see what their needs are to be able to see what works best for them.
Perfect. I think we think a lot of times in the area of parent engagement, we think a whole lot about compliance. Like I think a lot of our job is compliance. And that is important. But what is a practice that you've seen that just has piqued your curiosity maybe, or that you've seen has been a genuine way to have parent and family engagement?
Yeah, what I've always said is if you are doing the work of true parent and family engagement with fidelity, the compliance is going to fall into place.
Yes.
Right? Compliance is just that roadmap like a parent and family engagement policy. That's your roadmap, right? And ultimately, if you're doing what you need to, that's going to fall into place. And so that's why, the compliance piece is the minimum, right? That's your framework. It's putting that compliance into action. And again, with fidelity, right? It's not just, it's kind of like in education, you keep doing the same thing that you're doing, you're going to keep getting the same results. So If you're having parent and family engagement events and parents aren't coming, or you have your, annual Title I meeting and you don't have parents there, but you've done it the same way and you've invited parents the same way, and you've, held that one meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning, with the principal, and you're not getting parents, it's, you need to really assess, right? Why aren't parents coming? Go that extra mile, and also, put that policy into place, evaluate it to see how you're doing, because we can all improve, right? So always look at it from the continuous improvement side of things. But I think the important piece is making that framework come alive, understanding that compliance is the base, it's the framework, it's the beginning. And once you have that framework set up, it's making sure that it comes to life, is I think the important piece.
Perfect. I love that. Hey, I want to go back to your comment or your journey in education, where you talked about you went to basically a post-bac certification program to get your teaching certificate. So did you have any kind of pre-service, or did you have any kind of training when you were going through that about parent and family engagement?
So thinking back to my experience, it was a master's program in secondary education, along with certification. So it was a college course, or multiple college courses
Right.
throughout a 2-year period. And I can probably remember there wasn't a course, there wasn't one course dedicated to parent and family
Right.
engagement, but I can vaguely remember that in the course where we were working on a classroom management plan, that's where the parent piece was embedded. And that's pretty interesting because in classroom management, the times that you're going to reach out to parents is not for a good reason.
Yeah, it's not
And
a good day.
In a way, that could be something that's an issue because you're thinking of parents in the light of you're going to have to call them to let them know that, Jimmy's not doing what he needs to.
Right.
Or Jaimito.
Yeah.
And so, as some of my teachers knew me as. That could be an issue. But yes, there wasn't a whole course dedicated to engaging parents. I think the one little piece was built in the classroom management plan portion of one course.
I think we've talked about this. I think that hasn't changed a whole lot in our state. And so I just wonder, what does that long term look like for us? And so definitely a goal. Well, what is one thing that you feel like every district could do today that would dramatically impact parent and family engagement?
I think the relationship piece is the number one thing, is build strong, supportive relationships with parents, use the deposit and withdrawal system where you put all these deposits, positive deposits into parents about their children, letting them know that, you appreciate everything they do, even from just getting their child to school in the morning, because sometimes that is a challenge for working parents.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's just build those strong relationships so that when you have to do a withdrawal and you have to make that have that classroom management conversation with them, they know that you're coming from a point where you really do care about their child. And the one thing that I valued in my teaching experience is that we were always, one of the things we were required to do was contact parents. And it wasn't about a disciplinary issue. It was always, let's contact parents for positive feedback. And so if that's one thing that I think, and again, I get it. I was a teacher. It's difficult, especially at the high school level, when you have over 150 kids rotating in and out of your classrooms. That's 150 set of parents. Right. And so that can be time consuming in addition to all the planning you have to do for multiple, courses and everything else you do as a teacher. But if there's some way of engaging others to help you in that process, like the counselors or the parent liaisons that can help you make some of those phone calls to parents to let them know something that their child did well in school, or to just connect with families in a non-academic way where it's not about, discipline or even grades, right? It's just building those positive relationships. I think that goes a long way because just in society, period, when you hear something good about something that's going on, just this morning in the conference, when one of the activities was, stand up and share something you're excited about, that immediately changes the tone of a room or the tone of a conversation. And so I think it's starting with those positives. I practice that in my work team. At our division meetings, we always start off with good things. And that's something that anybody wants to share that's, good, that's happening either in their life or in their work world, because I think that sets the tone for a positive strength, not positive, but more a caring conversation approach rather than, punitive.
Starting with the heavy to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah. I had the teacher next door to me when I think I was a first or second year teacher, and she was pretty seasoned, and I was young, didn't have any kids, and parents kind of scared me. And she said, "Hey, think about it like a sandwich. Like it's something good in the beginning, in the middle where the meat is, that's where you need to ask for their help. Like you need to say, hey, Jaimito is being a turkey. Like, what are we going to do to fix this together? And she said, and then put the other piece of bread on there, and it's that other good thing. And she gave me that analogy more than once. And I still, to this day, whenever I'm talking to a coworker or when it comes to any kind of conversation with a parent or a friend, I still think about that analogy of the sandwich, the good, the tough, the meat in the middle, and then the other piece of bread. So I think that's great. Just build a relationship to begin with. Well, you've given us lots of wisdom today. I want to end with something just a little lighthearted. I know you have a new hobby, so tell us what that is.
So yeah, my new hobby is singing. No, sorry, that's an old hobby. Sorry, no, that's an old hobby. My new hobby is putting together bricks or Legos. So yeah, that's been exciting to engage in that Lego world and use it as like a therapeutic type activity that, where you're concentrating on, you're working your mind because, getting older. So
that's right. It's a great way
it's a good way to get those, I don't know what to call them. Are they like the little things,
neurons.
The neurons.
Yes,
I was going to say neurons, but I want to say I want to make sure I didn't say neutrons.
Neutrons.
Get the neurons firing and making those connections.
There you go.
But yeah, it's been fun.
And you told me yesterday, what was the last thing you built?
I built a little disco set that's like a little community like little scene with the disco, and it has little disco dancers that are like minifigures that move on a stage, and so
nice. Yeah. Well, Jaime mentioned it, but in case you don't know, Jaime does have a love for singing, and if you're lucky and you're at the PFE conference, we might get to see some of that. If you're not, maybe you'll be lucky enough for someone to share a video with that, or maybe we'll share it on our social media. So, Jaime, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you so much. Thanks for leading our team well, and we appreciate you taking time out of your day today to join us. So, we'll see you another time on Engaging Texas Families.